Hey everybody, welcome to another Damien's Reptile video. So today I got a new video for you guys, and I got this video idea from Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. But so I'm gonna leave a link in the description to his channel and to his videos, so you can go and check him out as well. I think he has some really good ideas and tips. And he definitely knows what he's doing compared to a lot of other people I've seen on YouTube. So I wanted to give him a little bit of credit for this video. So today's video is going to be about enriching the life of your reptiles. Reptiles get bored. A lot of people don't realize it. You need to keep them healthy and happy and, excited to wake up every day and experience something new. So, let's get right into it, guys. All right. Coming in at number 5, we have exercise. Are you giving your reptiles enough exercise? Because staying in an enclosure and in a tank all day is not fun. It's not, they don't get enough exercise. They like to come out and explore. Even ball pythons who like to stay in their hides all day, they would love to come out and roam around on the floor a little bit, and they would love to, just be able to experience, and enjoy their curiosity. I've let my reptiles out all the time. All right, at least once a day they come out and they roam around. I have a room set up for them. Make sure you're doing it in a place that's safe, an environment that's safe, and you do keep an eye on them, because if you have any holes in the wall or anything like that they can get in, you might never see them again. All right, make sure you're watching them so they don't get stuck in anything. I actually had a ball python once get stuck inside of something, and I had to literally break it and take it apart to get them out because they were stuck in it. So you want to be really careful, make sure you're monitoring and supervising the exercise, but, let them out, let them roam around, under good supervision. And even when it's nice outside, see, I live in upstate New York where it's not always nice. We have some really brutal cold winters, so I would not bring them outside during these, brutal cold winters or any type of time where it's not warm enough for them. But when it is nice out, I bring them outside, and I, let my snakes crawl or slither around in the grass a little bit, and I, let my beardies walk around in the grass. Not these guys, because they're pretty small, so I'm not going to let them right now until they're a little bit bigger. They do roam around inside when I can watch them. But, when I had my chameleon, I'd bring his tree outside. I actually rehomed the chameleon a while back because, I'm planning on getting a couple proven breeders, and I needed space for them. So we'd bring the tree outside, and we'd let him roam around in the tree while he's outside enjoying some real UV, because it's also healthy to let them outside when you can, if it's warm enough where you're at, because they get real UV. These lights that you put in your enclosures and stuff like that, it doesn't give them the real, right UV they need. Yeah, it does, give them UV, but you also want to give them, some, real UV from the sun. Give them some good light and exercise to enjoy at the same time. It's just really healthy for them, and it makes them happy, and you got a happy reptile on your hands. So let's get into the next one. All right, and coming in at number 4, we have something simple. Change it up. What's change it up? Well, change when you're going in to clean their tank. How hard is it to just change their environment a little bit? Move their hide from one place to another, from one end of the tank or enclosure to another. Move their water, add some new leaves or some new clutter, some little obstacles for them to get around, and just make it interesting for them. And a lot of people might argue that this will stress your reptile out, but it won't. They will love it. They will love the change. Give them new things to explore. So if you just do this, you will also have a very happy and healthy reptile. So make sure to change it up every once in a while. It's something very simple, and I highly recommend it. And coming in at number 3, we have food fun. So, what is food fun or feeding fun? Well, make eating a challenge. Make them have to hunt, okay? Because in the wild, they have to hunt for their food. And it might not seem enjoyable, but it brings them and gives them the experience of their true habitat, okay? So give them obstacles to eat, make them have to hunt around for their food, and this is amazing. They will love it, okay? And I've done this with my bearded dragons, and I'll tell you something, they have so much fun trying to chase around crickets or mealworms that are challenging to get, and having to have an obstacle over just simply feeding them. all right? Because you just simply feed them and they're like, they're living this, life that isn't even close to their natural habitat. But when you give them obstacles to go around, it's more like their natural habitat. In the wild, do they just, get handed a cricket or a mealworm or a dubia roach or a beetle? No, they have to go find it, hunt it, and sometimes it's an obstacle to get them, okay? So it's really great if you can give them an obstacle. You can do things like find something that you can put the food in and they have to knock it over to get the food, or hide the food in their tank, take them out and then hide food all over in their tank and then put them back in and let them run around and try to get it. And it's even as simple as feeding them at different times of the day. One day you feed them earlier in the day, the next day you feed them, later in the day. Don't feed them at the same time. That's another way you can do it. They eat on different schedules. Don't set a set schedule for, feeding every day, and it'll be a lot of fun for them. All right, they will enjoy it and it'll make them happy, and they won't be as bored, and they'll feel closer to their natural habitat. And I find that this is a really cool thing to do, and I love the idea, and I really think you should give it a try. And before I go any farther with this video, I want to mention something. In the original video, the original poster, Wickens, Wicked Reptiles, he said something that I don't necessarily agree with. I agree with pretty much everything he says. I think he's really trustworthy, and he's really good at what he does, and I highly recommend him as someone you can go to and get valid facts from. But one thing he did say was he doesn't recommend feeding your ball pythons live. He said it's really unsafe, and I strongly disagree with that. I strongly believe, and you can disagree with this, and I'm not trying to put his opinion down, because he's entitled to his opinion and that's his belief. And hey, I give anybody the up and up to feed their snake Rosenthal if that's what they so choose to do so. A lot of people think it's better. I just don't think I just don't like it, because it's not as enriching and fulfilling as feeding live. So I'd prefer to feed live rather than frozen thawed, unless I absolutely have to feed frozen thawed, which I do sometimes if I have to, but I'd prefer live feeding. But one thing I would say is never do it unsupervised. Make sure your snakes are 100% supervised. And also, I don't let my mice or rats roam around in the tank by themselves. I hold onto the tail with a pair of tongs until my snake has a hold of the mouse and or rat, and then I let go, because even if they miss, I don't want to just drop it and then it might do some damage to my snake. I make sure that it's 100% supervised and in the right manner, and under the right supervision, it can be done 100% safely. And I think that if you can ensure that you're doing it safely, then you really can. So make sure that you don't listen to other people's opinions on this type of thing. If someone tells you that it's wrong to feed frozen thawed, don't listen to them, because it's not. It's 100% okay if you can do it in a safe, supervised manner. All right. There's a lot of people out there who like to, harp on people for doing things a certain way. As long as you know that for sure that what you're doing is okay, don't listen to them. All right, because at the end of the day, it's your opinion, but always make sure you are properly caring for your reptiles. And if people are telling you you're not, you need to do some more research and find out what you might be doing wrong. But in this matter, I believe that it's okay. It's 100% okay to do either one. I would just prefer live feeding, so don't listen to people who say it's not okay to feed live or they shouldn't, because it's 100% okay. And if you're doing it safely, then kudos to you and keep on doing it. So let's get back into this video. Coming in at number 2, we have outside play. All right, we already talked about this in the exercise portion, but this deserves another one of its own, because it is very, very good. Okay, they get the right UV they need and they love it. Okay, I've actually had a few ball pythons that were scared to go and roam around in the grass the first few times. If that happens to you, don't let it stop you from doing it. Bring them out for a couple minutes as often as you can and get them used to it, and eventually they're going to learn to love it. and enjoy it. The UV, the real UV from the actual sun, is really healthy for them, way more healthy for them than their lights that you give them. So I think it's a really good idea. It's really enriching for them and fulfilling to go outside and roam around in the grass, or if you have a chameleon, bring his tree out and let him roam around in his tree. If you have a bearded dragon, you know, bring it outside and let it roam around in the grass as long as it's supervised, because these little guys are little assholes and they like to run and stuff like that. They like to run. So, you know, and they like to do their own thing regardless of what you want them to do. And I think we can all agree with that. But outside play is definitely a great thing, and I think everybody should do it with the reptiles. And that comes back to the exercise. It gives them really good exercise, and it puts some enjoyment in their day and fulfillment, and it really does enrich their life. Okay, coming in at number 1, we have ultimate realism. Okay, now I've only done this a few times when I had a couple bioactive enclosures, so I haven't done this too much. But if you're wondering what ultimate realism is basically a bioactive tank, okay? Or even like a free roam room. Like if you want to go check out Reptiles Uncaged, I'll leave the link to his description in the description below. He has a whole reptile room where he has a bunch of reptiles and feeders, and they're all roaming around all the time. And that's like ultimate realism, okay? But you can do like a bioactive enclosure. What, you trying to get my finger? Ow, God damn it, he bit me. Didn't really hurt. But ultimate realism, you can have a bioactive enclosure. You can make it rain in there if you have a timer set up. You can do so much different things with ultimate realism. You can put isopods in the substrate to help clean the substrate. You can, you know, you can put all different types of bugs in there full time so they can chase after them, eat them anytime they want. There's just, you know, you can plant real plant life and all different types of stuff. There's so much stuff you can do with ultimate realism, and I think it's a really good idea. But I don't necessarily do it all the time. I have had some bioactive enclosures, but only a few. I don't really use bioactive all that much unless I have specific animals. Sometimes I do with ones that aren't specific, but I mean not all the time. But it is a really good idea if that's what you want. But it can be really expensive. So this is one of the more expensive things. All the other things, it's not that expensive. You can do it pretty cheap or for free. But this one is going to be one of the more expensive ones because bioactive enclosures are really expensive. So, you know, do this at your own, you know, I don't know, I can't think of the word because it's not a risk, but do it at your own expense. There we go. So, because it is really expensive. The regular setups are way cheaper and they're just as good. I think bioactive, enclosures just give a little bit of more realism to their life. You know, it brings them back to their natural habitat more. But at this time, I don't really have the money to make bioactive enclosures for all my reptiles because I'm just getting my business started up and all that. So, but eventually I would love to do some ultimate realism and get all bioactive enclosures, but that's for the future. And eventually I would also like to do what Reptiles Uncaged is doing and get like a, you know, if I get a house with a garage attached to it, you know, get the whole garage set up, or like a room set up where it could be just a free roam reptile room, you know, that'd be amazing. But until then, I'm gonna stick to, you know, the regular enclosures. But if you want to do ultimate realism and get some bioactive enclosures, feel free to do it. So I would love it if you guys could leave a comment down below and let me know how this video helped you. And if you're doing some of these things, let me know how they're working for you. And if you're not and you're starting, once you get started, let me know how it goes. Let me know if your reptiles seem happier, healthier, and less bored. Just let me know how everything's going for them, because I would love to hear that, okay? So thanks for watching, everybody. Until the next time, see you guys later.